This video will walk you through the process of creating and completing the information required for condominiums and co-ops to report online to the DBPR, Division of Florida Condominiums, Timeshares, and Mobile Homes. You will need access to the following information to complete the online registration: the association name, an email that is exclusive to the association, and the association MA and PIN numbers as assigned by the DBPR. The MA and PIN numbers may be found on page 2 of the annual billing. Once registered, the information requested by the DBPR includes the following: association main address, association manager, name and license number, association management company name and license number, current number of board members, minimum and maximum number of board members required by governing docs, how many current vacancies on the board, each board member first name, last name, title, email, and phone number, number of buildings on the property, how ownership shares of common elements are determined. For each building, physical address, total habitable stories, total uninhabitable stories, total number of residential units. Year certificate of occupancy was issued. Construction in common elements and description. For the current year, total assessments excluding reserves, total annual amount of reserves collect, total number of special assessments issued, total annual amount of the special assessment, purposes of the special assessments for the following year, total assessments excluding reserves, total annual amount of reserves collect, total number of special assessments issued, amount of the special assessment, purposes of the special assessments, and finally, the list of all financial institutions that the association maintains accounts. To begin the registration and setup, go to the DBPR homepage at www.myfloridalicense.com. Look to the top right to find My Account. Click on My Account. Look to the bottom left and click on Create My Account. Fill out the information on the user registration screen, including name, email, whether you would like to create your own user ID or use your email, secret question and answer for password recovery. Please note that the name boxes require a first name and a last name, making it necessary to divide the association name into a first and second part. Check the I'm not a robot box and then click Next. Review your submitted information. Click Edit to change the information and make corrections. Click Save if the information is correct. A temporary password will be sent to you via the email you entered for the association. Click the Return button once you have received the temporary password email. Use the user ID and temporary password provided in the email to sign into the account. Fill in the information to create a new password. You may want to establish a password standard to make it more efficient for others to log into the account as needed. Click Save once a new password has been created. Enter the user ID and new password. Click Login to continue. Once back in the account, click on Link an existing license applicant record to my account. Check the YES circle for the question, Are you currently licensed? Click the Next button to continue. For the Profession and Business box, select Condominium or Cooperative Managing Entity/Association. For license type, select Managing Entity. Click the Next button to move to the next screen. In the License Number text box, type in the MA number. The MA number is assigned to the association as Managing Entity. It begins with the letters MA. Be sure not to use the association project number. Next, type in the PIN number provided by the DBPR. The MA and PIN numbers can be found on page 2 of the annual billing from the DBPR. Alternatively, you may contact the DBPR directly to get the MA and PIN number by emailing ctmheducation@myfloridalicense.com. Check the I am not a robot box and click Next to continue. Review the license and confirm that the information displayed is accurate. click on the I confirm this information circle. Click Next to continue. You should now see that the association managing entity number has now been linked to the account. Click on the managing entity number to continue entering information. The license menu shows the forms that are available to be completed using the online account portal. For this video, we will be reviewing the association information, building and assessment information, and financial institution reporting. Click on Association Information. The first page on the Association Information portal is the list of instructions and information needed for submission. After reviewing the instructions and information required, click Next to proceed. The next page is to confirm the association for which information will be submitted. Once you have confirmed the correct name, click Next to continue. The next page will show the address the division has on file for the association. To edit the address, click Main Address and enter the correct address. Once the address is confirmed as correct, click Next. The Relations page shows all Community Association Manager CAM or Community Association Management Firm CAB licenses and condominium or cooperative projects related to the association license. To find information on a related license, type the name of the related license or project or the license number if known and click Search. If the related license information on this page is complete, click Next. If related license information needs added, click Add. The next page is to add the contact information for the association's CAM or Community Association Management Firm, CAB. To add the contact information, click Add and fill out the name, email, and phone number for the CAM or CAB. Click Next when finished. The submission type page is to indicate if you are providing the required annual submission, an updated submission, or a submission for turnover from a developer. After using the drop-down menu to make a selection, click Next to continue. The next page is the Association Information page, where you will answer questions related to the association. Only cooperatives must answer the second question to indicate whether or not they are also under the jurisdiction of Florida Statute, Chapter 723. Once the information has been filled in, click Next to continue. On the Member Information page, provide the required information for each current board member. Use the Add button to open a new record and enter information for a current board member. After clicking the Add button, you will be directed to the Member Information Add screen. Fill out the information for each board member individually and click Next to complete the submission for the board member's information. Repeat the process until you have entered the information for all board members. Once you have entered the information for all board members and the number of board members matches the number on the Association Information page, click Next on the Member Information main page to continue. The next page requires that the information of the individual completing the form be submitted for questions or clarification about the submitted information. Once the submitter's information has been filled out, click Next to continue. On the application summary page, the submitted information will be listed. Check the information for completeness and accuracy. If errors are identified, you can click on the Previous button at the bottom of every page to get to the page that needs revision. Once the information has been confirmed, there is an attestation that must be completed before clicking on the Submit button. Now you can move on to entering the building and assessment information. Click on the link to begin. The first page on the Association Information portal is the list of instructions and information needed for submission. After reviewing the instructions and information required, click Next to continue. The next page is to confirm the association for which information will be submitted. Once you have confirmed the correct name, click Next to continue. On the Report Information page, answer if the association is a condominium, the number of buildings on the condominium/cooperative property, and how are the ownership shares of common elements determined. Once you have filled out the information, click Next to continue. The building information page is where you will provide information for each building individually. Use the Add button to open a new record to enter the required information for each building. Please note, the number of buildings on this screen should match the number of buildings on the property listed on the previous page. Once the information for each building is complete, click Next to continue. On the construction information page, you should indicate if any construction commenced within the common elements during the calendar year, January 1st – December 31st. If yes, please describe the construction in the common elements, cost, and when the construction was started and completed. Once you have filled in the information, click Next to continue. On the assessment information page, please provide information about the total annual amount collected from unit owners excluding reserves, total monetary amount of reserves collected, total number of special assessments issued, and the total monetary amount of special assessments for the current year and for next year's anticipated assessments. If there was a special assessment issued, provide the purposes of the assessments. The format for the answer boxes requires the answer to be submitted as a monetary value. Once you have completed this page, click Next to continue. The financial institution page is where you list all of the financial institutions that the association maintains an account with. To add a financial institution, click the Add button and type the name of the institution. When the list of financial institutions is complete, click Next to continue. The next page requires that the information of the individual completing the form be submitted for questions or clarification about the submitted information. Once the submitter's information has been filled out, click Next to continue. On the application summary page, the submitted information will be listed. Please check the information for completeness and accuracy. If errors are identified, you can click on the previous button at the bottom of every page to get to the page needing revision. Once the information has been confirmed, there is an attestation that must be completed before clicking on the Submit button. This concludes our discussion of the process to create and complete the information required for condominiums and co-ops to report online to the DBPR Division of Florida Condominiums, Timeshares, and Mobile Homes. Thanks for watching.